Well, Kerala has become the new political flashpoint over the centre's flagship education initiative, the PM SHRI scheme. Well, after years of opposition from top Congress leadership, including Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, over the national NEP, the National Education Policy, and its linked programs, the Congress-led government in Kerala has now moved to implement the same PM SHRI scheme in its state. So at the national level, they are opposing the NEP, but at the state level, they're happy to embrace the PM SHRI scheme. Well, this scheme is aimed at upgrading government schools as Pradhan Mantri schools for rising India. It was previously opposed by several opposition-ruled states, and this includes West Bengal, Delhi, Tamil Nadu. We'll get you the details of that. But in a striking shift, Kerala, now governed by the Congress, has agreed to roll it out. Well, Chief Minister has defended the move. Satheesan is saying that it is acting based on the prior understanding with the centre, which was made at the time of the left government, while insisting that Kerala will retain control over curriculum and implementation. Listen in to the Chief Minister and his defence as to why Kerala is embracing a central scheme which was meant, as per the NDA, for Sabka Saath.
Today, the Cabinet convened and we have taken a decision to form a Cabinet subcommittee to study the matters related to the PM SHRI project. LDF government has already entered into an agreement with the central government, and they received the money from central government also. Now we are forced to continue that project, but on one condition, that we don't allow the central government to intervene in the curriculum framework.
So there you just heard, you have the Chief Minister saying Congress government didn't take it, but the previous government, which was the left Sarkar, had already received the funds, which is why we are being forced to now implement the scheme. But the Chief Minister also says that we will decide the curriculum and not the centre. But before we move on to the politics over all of this, let's first tell you what is the PM SHRI scheme after all. Well, this is the Pradhan Mantri Schools for Rising India. It is a flagship school education initiative. It was launched by the Education Ministry in 2022. The aim was to upgrade around 14,500 schools and to develop selected government schools. In fact, they wanted to improve the quality of education which was being imparted. When it came to the implementation, the upgrade school infrastructure was also part of this scheme. So stage one is the states agreeing to implement NEP, and some of the states opposed the implementation of NEP, and most of them were opposition-ruled states. In fact, former Education Minister has denied, and the former Education Minister, who was part of the CPIM government at the time, has denied that there was any such binding agreement or central funding commitment which was in place, as the Chief Minister, the Congress Chief Minister Satheesan seems to be suggesting. This has led to a fresh war of words and the justification coming in from the Congress Sarkara now. Well, the left has accused the Congress of adopting what it calls RSS's agenda, while the Congress finds itself under scrutiny over a sudden reversal in the policy. This comes at a time when the school scheme was strongly opposed by several of the opposition-ruled states, raising bigger questions. Is this a case of ideological inconsistency or a pragmatic acceptance of a central education reform? Or is it the Congress's Chief Minister's Sabka Saath switch in Kerala? Watch this war of words and you decide.
PM SHRIക്ക് വേണ്ടി ഫണ്ട് വാങ്ങിയിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്ന് വാർത്താ സമ്മേളനത്തിൽ ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട മുഖ്യമന്ത്രി പറഞ്ഞെങ്കിൽ അത് വസ്തുതാ വിരുദ്ധമാണ്, കള്ളമാണ്. അത് ജനങ്ങളെ തെറ്റിദ്ധരിപ്പിക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യമാണ്. കേരളം ഈ PM SHRIയിൽ ഒപ്പുവെച്ച നടപടി കെറ്റിൻ അബയൻസിൽ വെക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി കേരളത്തിന്റെ അന്നത്തെ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ സെക്രട്ടറി കേന്ദ്ര ഗവൺമെന്റിന് കത്തയക്കുകയും അന്നത്തെ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ മന്ത്രിയായിരുന്ന ഞാൻ കേന്ദ്ര വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ മന്ത്രി കത്തെഴുതുകയും നമ്മൾ PM SHRI പദ്ധതി തുടങ്ങുന്നതുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് സ്വീകരിക്കേണ്ട നടപടിക്രമങ്ങളുണ്ടല്ലോ, അതിൽ ഒരു നടപടിക്രമങ്ങൾ പോലും പൂർത്തീകരിച്ചിട്ടില്ലെന്ന് മാത്രമല്ല PM SHRI നടപ്പിലാക്കേണ്ട സ്കൂളുകളുടെ എണ്ണം പോലും കൊടുത്തിട്ടില്ല. PM SHRIയുടെ പേരിൽ ₹1 കാശ് പോലും കേന്ദ്ര ഗവൺമെന്റിൽ നിന്ന് കേരളത്തിലെ ഇടതുപക്ഷ ജനാധിപത്യ മുന്നണി ഗവൺമെന്റ് വാങ്ങിയിട്ടില്ല. മറിച്ച് ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട മുഖ്യമന്ത്രി നടത്തിയിട്ടുള്ള പ്രസ്താവന അടിസ്ഥാനരഹിതവും സത്യവുമായി യാതൊരു ബന്ധവുമുള്ളതല്ല.
PM SHRI is nothing else but a scheme of the RSS-led BJP governments to implement the agenda of the RSS in the sphere of education. That is PM SHRI. The MOU itself says that the main purpose is to showcase the NEP. To implement that agenda, they came with the PM SHRI. The LDF governments took a correct decision now to implement it.
Chief Minister Mr. V.D. Satheesan and the opposition leader Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan have to apologize to the student community in Kerala. The students, lakhs of students have lost a great opportunity. PM SHRI was a very good project. There are a lot of educational infrastructure and skill development. In many other ways it was very useful. Lakhs of students lost their great opportunity. So Congress and CPM played a vote bank politics against the PM SHRI.
Well, let me go across to Arpita, who's joining us with all the details from Thiruvananthapuram. Very interesting switch that we have seen, Arpita. Is it true that the Congress government was forced to accept the PM SHRI scheme because the previous left government had already taken the funds for it from the centre?
Well, legally, if we see, that is true that left government had already signed the agreement, after which central government had said in the agreement itself, if they take back, then there will be legal implication. So technically, UDF government is forced to continue with the PM SHRI scheme because LDF government had already signed the agreement. Now, what remember in the past when LDF government had signed this scheme, initially they had said that no matter what, they will never agree with PM SHRI scheme. But one fine day, the education minister held a press meet and said that we have signed the PM SHRI scheme with the central government. Even the CPI ministers within the government were not aware of this, that they have signed the scheme, because of which CPI and CPM had differences in the government itself, and there were a lot of controversy over that. And now when education minister is saying that they had agreed they had signed the agreement, but later they had sent a letter to central government saying that there should be a delay. In fact, it should be stopped for time being. They had written a letter and they had taken this stand, as what the former education minister V. Shivankutty is saying. But currently the chief minister is saying that because they had already signed the agreement, and also they had received funds after signing the PM SHRI scheme, is what the current chief minister is saying, and that is why they are forced to implement it. But on this, former education minister has said that this is factually incorrect. They have not received even a single penny from the central government after signing the PM SHRI scheme. But on the other hand, CPI is maintaining the same stand, because even when they were in power with the in the left government, they had said that they are against the PM SHRI scheme, and even now they are criticizing the current UDF government, saying that this is an RSS agenda to implement PM SHRI scheme. So with the current government implementing it, they are completely against the PM SHRI scheme.
So this is very interesting. The Congress at the central level and in other states have rejected the national education policy as well as the PM SHRI scheme, even in Tamil Nadu. But when it comes to the state of Kerala, there is going to be a debut. Of course, the Congress here is blaming the left for it. But let's tell you about the states that have resisted the centre's flagship school education initiative. Well, it is in West Bengal. When it was initially rejected by Mamata Banerjee, the scheme remained opposed under the TMC at the time. But right after the BJP came to power in 2026, the scheme was implemented. A similar story played out in Odisha. The BJP government, which was under Patnaik, had opposed the PM SHRI scheme. But once the BJP formed the government in 2024, implementation moved forward. The national capital also followed the same trajectory. The Aam Aadmi Party government, when it was in power, had refused to join the scheme. Immediately after BJP came to power under Rekha Gupta, you had the scheme being brought in. Punjab initially resisted the scheme as well. However, unlike some of the other states, the government eventually agreed to implement it. And then there is Tamil Nadu, where Congress is part of the Vijay Sarkara. The notable exception is of course Tamil Nadu, because it has continued to strongly oppose the PM SHRI scheme and has remained at odds with the centre regarding this issue, but not when it comes to Congress-led Sarkara, which is there in Kerala. But listen in, let's remind you, what is Congress's stand? Well, we are going to draw right from the top of the pyramid. Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi. This is what they had said earlier about the scheme, and now their own Sarkar has implemented it in a Congress-run state. Listen to what they had said.
Aim of the RSS is the eradication of all other histories, all other cultures, all other traditions in this country. And this attempt that they're doing with the education system of the different states, this is just another attempt to push their agenda. And I'm very happy that you have come here to do this protest, and I wish that multiple protests like this happen, because the RSS needs to be made to understand that they cannot attack the Constitution, they cannot attack our states, they cannot attack our cultures, our traditions and our histories.
Yes, to brainwash children according to their own ideology. Yes, yes. That is the way that they have structured it now. They have inserted in it lots of factual inaccuracies, lots of historical data has been changed, and basically ideologically it is all leaning one way. And I don't think that's healthy for education or for children. They should have a large perspective. If there are different ideologies, those should all be talked about. The children should be educated and they should be aware.
Let me go across to Arpita. Arpita, earlier both the Gandhis had lashed out, calling it RSS's agenda to try and indoctrinate students. What changed in the Congress? Does Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, do they know that their own government in Kerala is now going to take funds from the centre for this?
Now that remains to be a question, because time and again when we are asking this to the Chief Minister, he's only saying this, that it is not because the Congress want to implement it, it is only because the left government had already signed the scheme and the current government doesn't have any other option other than continuing with it, because even though the power has shifted, it was the Kerala government who had signed, be it with the left or the Congress, it was the left Kerala government who had signed, and technically already Kerala government had signed the scheme. So even if the power has now shifted to UDF and it is the UDF who is in power, they are forced to implement it. So he is saying that when he was in the opposition, when V.D. Satheesan, the current Chief Minister, when he was the leader of opposition, he had criticized left government's move, claiming the same thing, that it is an RSS agenda, and the left government keeping their own ministers, CPI ministers, in the dark and have signed the scheme is completely RSS agenda, is what the current Chief Minister, back when he was the leader of opposition, he had claimed. So now he is saying that it is not because the Congress want to do it. They still believe that it is an RSS agenda and they do not want to implement it. But because the left government had already signed it legally,
Absolutely.
They cannot back off now, and only because of that they will be continuing with the PM SHRI scheme.
Well, of course, the BJP has said that finally the Congress too has realized that it is all for Sabka Saath. Thank you so much, Arpita, for joining us and explaining all of that. Of course, it's complex regional politics that we see over a central scheme. But let's also tell you about the meeting of how exactly there are other states as well which have been opposing this. Several of the schemes, as I was telling you, have refused to implement key flagship schemes of the central government. Be it Tamil Nadu under the DMK Sarkara, you had the state which had opposed the National Education Policy 2020, and it continues to reject the PM SHRI school scheme as well. Then if you move on to West Bengal, Trinamool Congress government had stayed out of the Ayushman Bharat scheme as well, the centre's health insurance program. It had also opposed the PM SHRI scheme. And then there is Delhi. Under the Aam Aadmi Party government, what are the schemes of centre that they rejected? Well, the national capital did not implement the Ayushman Bharat scheme, the Prime Minister Awas Yojana, as well as the Prime Minister Ujjwala Yojana, three of the centre's major welfare initiatives. So these are all the states initially under opposition rule had rejected the central schemes. But now, is the tide slowly changing? Is there suddenly a Sabka Saath switch? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But with that, let's move on in this bulletin. Let's tell you about the meeting of the boss and the killer on the sidelines of the G7 summit. Yes, we're talking about the US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Well, the G7 summit was the first time both the leaders came face to face after 16 long months. Last time they met was in February 2025. Well, the meeting that happened last night was almost in complete contrast to some of the bitter moments that we've seen over the past few months between India and US's relationship. In fact, Trump not only praised India, called the country a strong partner, he went on to shower personal praise on the Prime Minister, calling him cool, calm, and an angel, beautiful, and a total killer. Well, first up, listen into what exactly it is that President Trump had to say, saying that as long as Prime Minister is the leader of India, he will always back India. This is what President Trump had to say.
He's the most beautiful looking man. He looks so nice. He's like an angel. But actually, he's as tough as he's a killer. I don't want to, he's a killer. He's as tough as they come. But he looks so good. So he gets you by surprise. But there's few people like this. People say he's such a nice man. I said, no, he's very tough. He's a tough trader. And he loves the Indian people.
Do you expect India to play any role in West Asia?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think India plays a big role in everything. As long as he's the leader, India's going to play a big role. If they were attacked, we would be there to help them. How is that? Is that a good statement? Okay, come here, man. If anybody attacks that man, we're going to be there. Now, if there's a new leader, I'm not sure about it. Okay. If there's a new leader, I don't know about that. But if they're attacked and he's the leader, we're going to be there to help.
With that, breaking news which is coming in, Congress has questioned the context of President Trump's killer remark, with some even linking it to the 2002 Gujarat riots. At the same time, opposition has also targeted the Prime Minister over the death of Indian sailors, alleging that the issue was not forcefully raised during the Modi-Trump interaction. Listen in to their myriad criticisms. Well, we'll get you all the criticisms coming in. Let me go across to Mohit. First, Mohit, a lot of criticism there coming in against the Prime Minister, despite the fact that you have President Trump coming out and saying that he's a cool and calm leader, he's a killer, and he's got my backing. Clearly, the opposition here continues to chant the surrender raga. Why?
Well, yes, in fact, you see, these were all the adjectives that were being showered upon Prime Minister Narendra Modi by the US President Donald Trump in that bilateral meeting. And when the media interaction was going on, he was asked about India's role in West Asia, said that India has a great role to play in West Asia. And he praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying that he's a great trader, negotiator, he's a killer. Now, the word killer that he used was an adjective. And also he said that we have got Prime Minister Narendra Modi's back. If anybody attacks him, we are there. So that shows the relationship between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Yes, there have been certain hurdles in the relationship when it comes to the Indo-Pakistan war, Operation Sindoor, or the tariff that has been put. But then whenever these two leaders meet, they share a good camaraderie. But that has upped the opposition, specifically the Congress party, with the Congress party have raised questions on the context of the killer remark, and they have linked it to 2002 Gujarat riots. And they are also politicizing the issue, saying that the Congress party raises questions on the surrender of India's right, India's sovereignty.
Sorry to interrupt you. Stay with us, Mohit. We'll just come back to you. We have the reactions of Congress all queued up and ready to fire. Let's listen in.
I was just reading the statement of President Donald Trump about our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji. He said Modi ji is calm, quiet, and the killer. I don't know in what sense Donald Trump is saying that he's a killer. Whether it, needs to be taken positively or it needs to be taken negatively, really don't know. I mean, is he referring to the Gujarat riots, because of which, the United States had, denied visa to our honorable Prime Minister. But
आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने भारत की जहां एक तरफ धाग और धमक को धारदार किया है, भारत को विकास और भारत के प्रति विश्वास का दुनिया में जो माहौल खड़ा किया है, निश्चित तौर से आज उसकी सराहना सभी लोग कर रहे हैं। जहां तक कांग्रेस पार्टी के अज्ञानियों का प्रश्न है, तो उनको कोई ज्ञान देने की आवश्यकता नहीं, क्योंकि उनके दिमाग में जो है वो मोदी फोबिया है, और मोदी फोबिया की जो इनकी बीमारी है, जब तक उससे ये बाहर नहीं आएंगे तब तक इनका कोई भला नहीं कर सकता।
But of course, the courts had absolved the Prime Minister of any larger conspiracy, including the Supreme Court as well, in the 2002 Godhra riots. However, the opposition still isn't impressed. With that, we wrap up the show. Thank you so much for watching Setting the Agenda.